What is up, everyone? Welcome into the video. My name's Jonathan Messer, host of Booby Sports Show, and in this video, we're going to be predicting the first round playoff game between Alabama and Oklahoma. So this game's taking place at Oklahoma. We know that Alabama and Oklahoma already played this year in Tuscaloosa, and Oklahoma won that game. We're going to get into why and what could be different in this game. We're going to break down the game a little bit, give you some betting odds, key players, things to look for, and then I'm going to predict the game. So let's hop right into this. Let's start with last game. So last game was a disaster for Alabama as far as everything other than normal play. Now, what I mean by that is special teams was bad. Turnovers were bad. Field position was bad. And I got some stats here. So Oklahoma, as far as field position, started drives at Alabama's 31 twice. They also had a pick six. So when you can't make Oklahoma's offense, who has not been functioning very well recently, hasn't been able to put up points, if you give them a free touchdown on defense, that can be an issue. Because that's a touchdown that possibly and most likely wouldn't have happened if they had the ball with their offense. And that's been an issue that Bama's had the past few games. Special teams has been bad, and field position has been bad. And for me, in my opinion, field position is I don't know if it's a consistent stat. I think it flips pretty heavily given the game. I don't think field position is necessarily a skill. Now, obviously, you have punting the ball. If you got a really good punter, that's a skill that can flip the field. But as far as turnovers, really, and you're not going to get a punter who's usually going to put the ball within the 10-yard line every single time he punts it. It was just a bad situation for Alabama in the SEC championship game where it felt like it happened every time Bama forced Georgia to punt the ball. But you can't fumble or throw picks in your territory. Last game against Oklahoma, Ryan Williams fumbled the ball. Oklahoma recovered at the 31. Also in that game, Ty Simpson got strip sacked by Taylor Wine at the 30, and the ball was covered at the 31. You can't give them that. Also, I kind of mentioned it in those two. That's 2 turnovers right there, and Ty Simpson also threw a pick six, like I mentioned before. That's 3 turnovers. Oklahoma was +3 in the turnover margin, and earlier in the year, Brent Venables kind of pointed at turnovers as an issue, that they haven't been developing any turnovers, and now they forced 3 turnovers against Alabama, and honestly, for me, it might be a scheme thing. I know it's Ryan Grubb's first year as the OC at Alabama, but last year, Oklahoma was +2 in turnovers against Alabama. They might just know how to force turnovers against this personnel. Brent Venables is a great defensive coach. I wouldn't put it past him. So that's something to look out for. What's really, really odd, well, we know why, so let me not use the word odd, but there's something to look out for here because Bama outgained Oklahoma last time they played, 406 yards to 212. So turnovers really played a difference. And like I said, I know that has to do with starting field position, but that's due to turnovers. So Bama could have put up even more yards, and honestly, there were more turnover-worthy plays. I think I remember 2 plays in that game that Ty Simpson threw turnover-worthy balls. So are turnovers going to plague Alabama in this game, or are they going to clean it up? Back to field position, Oklahoma starting field position was their 43. So even without the turnovers and starting Alabama's territory, they had good field position. I understand that starting at the 31 twice can skew statistics like that, an average, but just go back and rewatch the game. They were starting at good field position every time. It wasn't just when they had turnovers. All right, so now that we talked a little bit about last game against these two, let's get into some of the dynamics in this game. So injuries for Alabama, we thought LT Overton had a chance of coming back for this game. He's out. They rolled him out earlier this week. But Josh Cuevas is probable, and that's just another weapon. You can't, if you're Oklahoma, just stack the box anymore because you got to worry about Cuevas going out and catching the ball. You stack the box, he's just going to have, there's going to be an open window every time for him to throw the ball, most likely in the seam. And if you try to put a linebacker on him, it's the typical receiving tight end conundrum. If you put a DB on him, he's too big, he's going to go up and get the ball. If you put a linebacker on him, he's too athletic, he's too good of a route runner, they're not going to be able to cover him. That's a big get for Alabama if he truly is back, and it can open the offense for Ty Simpson because, honestly, they haven't been moving the ball very well recently. They already can't run the ball, we know that. So when you're that reliant on the passing game and the passing game isn't elite, mind what I say here, and the passing game isn't elite, you can have a pretty good pass offense if you have a pretty good run offense to supplement it with. But if you don't have any type of run game, your pass offense has to be elite, and it hasn't been that. Like I said, Josh Cuevas is coming back. Even though LT Overton's not coming back, you get some guys healthier. You get a little bit of a break. Brailsford should be healthier. Some of the guys who are banged up should be coming back. So that's good for Alabama. For Oklahoma, Gentry Williams is out. That's I believe he plays boundary corner. I could be incorrect about that, but I know he's a corner. And it's depth, it's rotation. It throws it off, but I trust Brent Venables to get that pretty straightened out. I believe he's a amazing defensive mind, and that probably shouldn't be too much, but that's a good football player out of the game. Xavier Robinson has been banged up the past few weeks. Is he ready to go? Like, how full go is he? Because Oklahoma can't run the ball other than John Mateer, and Blaylock just hasn't gotten it done. Xavier Robinson kind of exploded into the scene, and you saw in the Tennessee game, he really took over. They leaned on Tennessee's defense with him. Him and John Mateer were able to cut them up. But if he's not ready to go, it's just going to be John Mateer running around, and we know he hasn't been the same ever since having surgery on that hand passing the ball. Okay, defensively for these teams, Bama is 9th against the pass, and Oklahoma's 44th. So there's room for Ty Simpson to cut this team up passing the ball. You get Josh Cuevas back, like I said. You have Isaiah Horton, Lotzaire Brooks, Jeremy Bernard, and if Ryan Williams just pokes his head at all, that's huge. I mean, they've been playing football pretty much without Ryan Williams the past few weeks. I don't know where he's been, but if he can even pop his head up, that could be a problem for Oklahoma. John Mateer's been struggling. That passing game has been struggling for Oklahoma. Bama has the 9th-ranked pass defense. That's not a good matchup for Oklahoma. That worries me, especially because neither of these teams can run the ball. Bama's a little bit susceptible to the run, but they don't really have anyone to run the ball with. That is Oklahoma. So I don't know if they can necessarily expose that. Oklahoma's third against the run. Bama doesn't run the ball well. They don't even try to run the ball that much. So I think that's kind of a moot point. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the key players here. Oklahoma has 2 really good wide receivers in Isaiah Satania and Deion Burks, and those 2 are going to play a big role in this game because one of my biggest questions and biggest things to look out for here is which offense can make a few plays. Which offenses can take a dig to the house, screen pass to the house, or get a 40-yard gain off a slant across the middle. Who can split cover 2 safeties and get a deep post for a touchdown, or even just like a 43-yard gain, something like that. Who can make a few of those plays? And having Isaiah Satania and Deion Burks for Oklahoma is a big step in that right direction for them. The problem for them is you look across the field, well, I should say sideline, look across the sideline and you see all the receivers I just named, the whole Alabama receiving core. and those dudes can go out and make a play whenever, especially Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy Bernard's a true NFL talent. Isaiah Horton's going to win pretty much any 50-50 ball you throw at him. I know he had some drops against Georgia, pretty uncharacteristic, but he had a really good game against Auburn. Looking for him to bounce back. On defense, for Oklahoma, it's Taylor Wine and Peyton Bowen. Peyton Bowen's a really good DB for him. He's kind of stormed onto the scene this year, especially late. Really good football player. And Taylor Wine is a guy who most people didn't know him unless you were an Oklahoma fan going in or coming out of spring and summer. It's a guy that staff raved about, and now it's coming to fruition. The dude's a great football player. He has a knack for the quarterback. He has 6 sacks this year, and he gets really good pressure, and he's great in the run game. A lot of times you'll see these edge rushers who are really good at rushing the passer are a liability in the run game. He's not that. He's a big dude. He's strong, and he makes plays for that defense, especially with R. Mason Thomas having the season-ending injury. Defensively for Alabama, Bray Hubbard. Bray Hubbard is a turnover machine. He has a bunch of forced fumble recoveries. I believe he has 4 interceptions. He's going to be a big key in this game because if Alabama turns the ball over, they're going to have to get their get back, and he's a big part of that. Justin Jefferson is a really good pass rusher, but they don't use him that much. They let Yonze Paris go after him because he's more of a natural pass rusher, and they can bring Justin Jefferson in small amounts when they're not expecting it, and that's when he's the most effective. Not a big sack guy, but's really good at getting pressure, and he's great at the second level of that defense. That's where he really makes his money. At the second level of that defense, he is all over the field. He can cover, and he's really good in the run game. Okay, some things to look out for in this football game are who can run the ball at all. I don't really see a team establishing that good of a run game in this game, but who can just a little bit? Who can get a few yards here and there? Who can get a few carries, a few first downs on third down running the ball? Who can on first down get 5 or 6 yards every once in a while, every set of downs? That's going to be a big part of this game to help those passing offenses. Like I said before, which offense can make a few plays? I listed some guys who can do that. We'll see. Whose pass rush can get home? This is always a big point of emphasis for each team in every game and each analyst while breaking down these games. But both of these teams have a really good pass rush, and Alabama's offensive line is a little bit better than Oklahoma's, in my opinion. Oklahoma's has turned it on a lot recently, but they struggle at times. But it didn't bother Oklahoma last time as far as their pass rush against Alabama's elite offensive line. And offensive line play for Alabama at its best is the best in the country, but they haven't done that. So you can call them inconsistent. Which Alabama team shows up? That's really what's going to matter. Turnovers. Who's going to win the turnover battle? If Oklahoma is if Oklahoma is plus 2 or 3 turnovers again, they'll probably win. If Alabama keeps it even or is just -1, they'll probably win. And field position. Is Alabama going to get horrible misfortune in the field position game, or are they not? Lastly, in my opinion, 24 points should win this football game. Whoever scores 24 points, if you tell them either of those teams before the game, your offense is going to score 24 points, I think both of those teams feel pretty good about what their defense can do. Okay, some of the betting stuff here. It is at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's favored by 1.5 points, but the money lines are very close. There's not much money to be made on the money lines. Oklahoma's money line is -116 and Bama's is -102. The over-under in this game is 40.5. Who do I have winning this game? Well, Oklahoma already beat them in Tuscaloosa. I picked Alabama as my preseason national champion, and it's taken a lot for me to come off that pick, and I have come off that pick, and you'll see that when I release my full prediction for the playoff bracket. But I still think Alabama gets it done, mainly because I think Alabama can pass against Oklahoma, and them getting back healthy, Josh Cuevas coming back, Brailsford will be 100%. I just think they come through. I think Ty Simpson's able to make some passes, and I don't think they get the misfortune in the turnover, or misfortune in the field position game like they had last game and the last few weeks. Turnovers are a skill that defenses can have, but I don't see Alabama turning the ball over like they did. I think they protect the football more, and I think they go into Gaylord Memorial Stadium and get a win. Close. I think it'll be a close game, and I think Alabama advances to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena to face Indiana. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. If you don't mind, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel. I'm trying to grow this thing, and I appreciate you. Let's have a fun weekend watching these playoff games, and tune back in next week to get my predictions. Jesus saves. God bless. Thank you all.